Well, thank you, Charles, for that conversation, especially the one that you considered the increase in the budget. That topic, we will take it up from Abuja here subsequently, maybe next week, and we'll interrogate that matter with some members of the National Assembly. For this morning, let me welcome you to our Abuja studio. My name is Mwabo Zenjok. I think on Tuesday, we had a conversation on autonomy of local government, financial autonomy of local governments. After that conversation, the central bank issued a statement to the effect that the local governments that ought to open their own accounts into which the allocation from the federation account should be paid have to bring 2 years of audited account for 2 years. And I raised the question whether the central bank was not setting up the local governments. And why was I that pessimistic? Simple. Since 1999, the local governments have never really operated their accounts in such a way. In other words, they are not being responsible for the disbursement, utilization of the monies coming to them from the federation account. Maybe I do not have all the information. In this conversation, we get to know whether I have all the information or not. So, if the central bank says, bring audited account for 2 years before we can open account for you into which your allocation could then be paid, is the central bank not setting up the local governments? What manner of audits are they going to produce? Are they going to produce falsified figures? Or are they going to tell the truth and nothing but the truth? And if they do just that, what are we getting into? Who spent the monies? How can the local governments begin to account for monies they did not expend? That is the issue this morning. And I have in the studio 2 gentlemen. On my left is Barrister Celsus Ukpong. Barrister, of course, you know he's a lawyer. Ukpong, welcome to the conversation.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Also, on my right this morning, I have Samuel Akala. Honorable Samuel Akala was a 2-term chairman of Karu local government in Nasarawa State. Honorable Akala, welcome to the program.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to join you this morning.
Now, my lawyer.
Yes.
First, let me ask, is central bank operating within law to insist that local governments should produce 2 years of audited account before accounts could be opened for them?
Well, thank you very much for that question. I believe they are operating within law because the central bank should have its preconditions for every organization trying to open an account with them. They could not have singled out the local governments for punitive measure by demanding them to get an audited account. I think that is a normal conditions for the opening of account with central bank. So I think they are within law so far.
Now, you heard my introduction.
Yes.
And that is, what's an audit supposed to do? An audit is supposed to, it's a document that shows how you received monies, how you expended them, to whom you gave them, and for what purpose you gave them.
Yes. An audit and account is a summary, worldview of financial explanations pertaining to an organization. It's not a death sentence. It's just to explain how you got the money, how you expended it. And it is necessary in any organization. It should not be a thing that should cause headache for anybody.
But I've looked through the Constitution somehow.
Yes.
I did not see any provision in the Constitution that says before a local government can open an account into which money should be paid, it must produce an audited account.
Well, everything must not be in the Constitution. The constitution, the central bank itself is a creation of the constitution, and the constitution are giving central banks the power to prescribe policies and rules on how to do its activities. So anything they do is within the constitution. The constitution was not meant to be contain every small thing like creation of an audited account, but the creation of central bank in the constitution is enough, because the constitution has a right, the central bank has a right to prescribe those conditions if they want to open an account.
Honorable Kala, you were a local government chairman for 8 years. That's quite a long time, 2 terms. Did you ever produce an audited account?
Well, first, let me correct that I didn't serve for 8 years.
Okay, but served 2 terms.
I didn't also serve the 2 terms because of my position on local government autonomy while I was in the office. So my second term was actually denied.
No, please, can you explain to us, what was your position? We'll soon come to this account. What was that position you had on local government accounts that aborted your second term?
Well, you see, I am about the youngest person that has administered my local government as an elected chairman. I keep saying, yes, the elections in states have always fallen short of what you can call an election, because basically the governor will have to endorse you, and of course, and you know that the governor's party will always win everything. So I was a beneficiary of that gesture, and that
you
is
were
why
endorsed.
Yes, I was, but I had a very highly and keenly contested primary election because I ran against a sitting chairman who never subscribed to the consensus. He insisted that primary elections must be conducted. And that was done, but I had the endorsement of the government as at that time, and I defeated the sitting chairman in the primary election.
Okay.
The secondary election is what I always say, with every sense of responsibility, that election did not give my opposition the latitude to freely participate. So, and that election was conducted by the state electoral body. So, in most cases, I always say, that name, independent, must be removed from the state electoral body, because there is nothing independent about them.
You benefited?
Yes, I did benefited. That does not mean that the right thing shouldn't be done. So while in office, realizing the importance and the critical nature of the functions of local government to Nigerians, being the only tier of government where every Nigerian resides, I realized that if the local government is effective, if the local government is able to access its funding as it comes from the federation account, we will be able to tackle our challenges, our developmental challenges. Also realizing that medium and small scale enterprises are domiciled in the local government. So I held an opinion that, look, there is no federal government or state policy or program that can succeed without strengthening small and medium scale enterprises. Every developmental programs are anchored on how strong your small and medium scale enterprises. They are like the nerve of development. So once they are weak, whatever robust policy you would bring on board as federal government or state government will always not produce the desired result. Because those small and medium. So I held an opinion while in office. I was on national TV to say, look, grant local government financial and administrative autonomy. Let INEC, federal INEC, be saddled with the responsibility of conducting elections into local government. Allow the community to decide who administer that tier of government, that very critical tier of government. I held an opinion that the third tier of government in Nigeria is supposed to be the strongest tier of government. But unfortunately, this tier of government over the years was conquered by state governors. Unfortunately, this tier of government has been reduced to an appendage of the state government, reducing it, weakening it, and producing ineffective administrators at that level of government, thereby local government not meeting the yearnings of Nigerians in line with the constitutional provision. And Nigerians have totally lost confidence in the tier of government. Over the years, ask Nigerians around, those who even reside behind Secretariat, who is your local government chairman? They may not know, because the man is not doing anything. Because the man comes in, pays salary, and he's gone. They are not seeing that there's no visibility of the activities.
Because there are no activities.
Of course, there are no activities because of lack of funding.
Now,
this is the opinion I held
that was good
while in office that cost me actually my second term. Because the second term came out strongly, my people were strongly behind me, and some few stakeholders approached the governor and said, look, this guy is becoming too powerful. The people are with him. In fact, at a point I told the governor, Excellency, you can endorse their candidate and allow me to contest with them. And they went and told him, it's a setup, Your Excellency. The man wants to embarrass you and defeat you at the primary election. So those are things that has happened in the past that cost me the second term. But I live with a sense of fulfillment because I was able to bring the desired difference. I administered the most complex local government, the most populated, commercially viable local government in Nigeria. And there is no Nigerian that you cannot find in Cairo local government, you know. So that is at best what I can say. And throughout my term in office, I never had transaction with CBN.
Good.
That is because we were already on the state joint account, where monies transferred from the federation account to the state joint account that is managed by the state government.
No, I want to repeat that line. I want to repeat that line because that is the core of this conversation, as it were. In other words, the monies paid into the local government state joint account was managed by the state government.
Of course.
Now, I asked you whether you ever had an audited account.
Yeah.
So, if now you are in government, suppose you are in government, and Central Bank now says, bring 2 years of audited account, what manner of audit would you submit?
Well, we had audited accounts, okay?
Good.
You know, we have accounts with commercial banks. For instance, when I was in the office, we had about 5 accounts with different commercial banks. There is what we call project account, revenue account, and all of that, you know. So we had auditors in our local government, and we have what is called the local government auditor general, who also comes around from time to time to audit our accounts, and then every year we produce the audited account. But that is to the effect of how much the state joint account
gave you,
transferred to you. You know, at every month when FAC holds its account allocation committee, the local government also holds its own what is called local government joint allocation account committee. It's called JAC at the local government and state level. And that committee is chaired by the commissioner for
finance.
For local government.
Local government,
So we go there, they bring the table and tell you, 13 local government salaries or 13 local government XYZ amount. Okay, we pay traditional rulers 5%. We pay, there are statutory, a lot of deductions like that will be done. Local government service commission takes 1%, pension takes 15%, primary healthcare development agency take 1%, local government ministry take also 1%, to run their office, So the local government was like a Father Christmas taking care of a lot of babies in the states. These are state ministries, but being spoon-fed
from local government allocation.
Yes, because of the fact that the state is in charge of the funds. So the state government would now reach out to the state assembly to say, oh, look, make laws. Because the constitution has given so much powers to regulate the local government to the state assembly. They have the right to make laws for the finances and administration of local government councils. So the leveraging on that, the governors, they are usually in charge of the state assembly because they decide who comes to the assembly. The tickets of their parties are in their pocket. So they sleep in the morning, wake up and say, Akala, no, you're not lawyer. Njoku, I give you ticket. Go to the assembly. You know, so it is usually at the whims and caprices of the governors to see who they dish out party tickets, you know. So when you get the party ticket, if you're fortunate, your area does not have strong opposition, you just go and start buying your babariga for swearing in. And then when you get to the assembly, you must play to the rhythm of the government house, because that is where you were made. So it is not that you come and say, my people elected me, I'm here to represent the interest of my people, I'm going to hold the state government to account. When budgets are passed, we will oversight the ministries to ensure that what we appropriated in the budget are utilized in the best interest of the people.
Honorable Kala, I'll come back to you. I'll come back to you, Honorable Kala. But yes, I'm sure that you're hearing Honorable Kala. It's a story of infractions.
Yes.
It's a story of not following the due process. Don't forget that this conversation really is on these audited accounts. What will be in them? He said that they have audited accounts.
Yes.
Okay. In that audited accounts, what will appear is what the state governments gave to them.
Yes.
But this account is to open an account for payment directly to the local governments.
That's right.
In other words, they've taken charge of their full money.
Yes.
That is what is going to happen currently.
Yes.
Who will account for the shortfall over the years? Who will be held liable for the shortfall over the years? Who will produce the audited account for the shortfall over the years?
Thank you very much. The story of Honorable Akala can be replicated in all the local governments in Nigeria. It is the same story. The same story where the state government hijacked the resources of the local government, contrary to the intention of the constitution that was supposed to make a local government the third tier of the government. You know, local government was supposed to be a partner in progress with the state and the federal government. But the way they were practicing it has always been contrary. This didn't start now. It has always been there since the 50s. Until 1976, when there was a local government reform and the local government were given the kind of financial autonomy we are talking of. It has happened before, and the local government was working at that time. It was unfortunate that they went back to that evil system of trying to control the resources of the people, because the local government, as he has said, is the closest to the people. They need resources. They need resources. As a lawyer, there was a time I wanted to challenge this practice of local government accounts going to the state government, and one of my friends said, man, you are trying to create unavoidable enemies. That governors are using this money to do big boys, maybe to rig election and do all those things. This was very bad. So I believe that the present reform is one of the best things this government has ever done, perhaps the only good thing they have done so far for the state. They should stick to it. The audited account is not meant to withhold anybody.
I want to interject here.
Yes.
Is this audited account not an opportunity to ask questions and then to begin to hold people to account?
Yeah, the people to ask questions are the law enforcement agency.
Yes. Isn't it a window now for the law enforcement agencies to begin to ask questions?
It is a
Who
way.
done it?
Yes, it is a way the law enforcement agencies were aware of the rot in the local government. So the availability of the audited accounts is always been there if they were interested to find out. But I want to say that the audited accounts requirement is not to withhold they pass up. If I were in the central bank, I would have asked them to bring 3 years audited account, not 4, so that it will not look as if we are trying to withhold the present government. These things have been happening since 1999. You know, it has been happening like that. So as the Honorable said, the audited account is, you explain, you cannot give what you don't have. But what you have, you must give it, no matter what is going to be the consequences, or who is going to be affected, or who is going to account for the money. That should not be the issue now. The issue is that the local government should be given all the help they need to have their money directly. Even the hope of that money coming, I'm surprised the Honorable is saying it has not come yet. I thought it has come, because our new elected local government has been up and going, something that has never happened before. Going to this road, going to Audited, the road they abandoned in the 80s. The man is touching everywhere. So I was in the view, I was believing that the money has already come. So the hope is there. We should help them to have the money, so that those resources can be well utilized. We should not be bothering about what happened to
the past.
The past.
But that will be a society that...
So the people that should worry about that is the law enforcement. We have anti-corruption agencies.
Barrister,
yes.
Does EFCC have a job for itself now?
EFCC has always had a job. What we need in EFCC is the willpower. Not only EFCC, with the ICPs, is the willpower to enforce the law. If the EFCC enforce the law, Nigeria will have no reason to be borrowing money.
At least these audited accounts.
Yes. Will bring out the evil
that can now be interrogated.
They bring out the evil in the legal evil system, which they cannot ask questions and recover those money. There are laws in this country they can use to recover those money, whoever is holding them. So that should not be the issue. The issue is to help the
local government
to get the money first.
Now, Honorable Kala,
yeah.
Do you feel happy? Do you feel satisfied? Do you see a sense of improvement? I mean, do you see some improvement in this move to liberate the local governments from the apron strings of the state governments? And do you also see it working?
Well, I feel happy, but I'm not satisfied. In the sense that, one, I must salute the courage of Mr. President for being able to approach the Supreme Court to say, look, let's rescue and salvage the local government. It was a rescue mission, let me tell you, because the local government was subdued over the years. It was conquered, you know. But my point of serious concern and worry is the fact that this judgment was delivered
on July 11, 2024.
July 11 to date.
Or June 11, really.
June 11 or July 11?
June 11, 2024.
To date, it's over 7 months now, running, for that this important judgment is yet to be implemented. It means that the federal government has refused to obey the judgment of no less a court than the highest court in the land. And again, that it is the same federal government who approached this court, and the court granted his prayers. Nigerians were put in a serious mood of celebration. And I must tell you, this is one of the most highest points that this government has scored, because the impact is enormous if this judgment is implemented.
Well, we'll look at
what has improved.
Yes, just
on the signal.
My colleague is telling me we need to take a short break because the issues you are raising are critical, and it's necessary to give it enough time. Well, we are looking at the local government system, the demand by the Central Bank of Nigeria for audited accounts, to open accounts into which federally allocated funds can be paid for the local governments. We're also looking at the obstacles on the way of implementing the judgment of the Supreme Court. We take a short break. and we return. My guests are in the studio.
Justice Emmanuel Agim, leading 6 other justices of the Supreme Court, on June 11, 2024, delivered a judgment which was considered to be a milestone in Nigeria's constitutional democracy. The justices had declared that it is unconstitutional to withhold funds allocated to local governments, dissolve local government councils, or appoint caretaker committees. The court also ruled that monies meant for the local government from the federation account should be paid directly to the account of the local councils. The December 2024 federation account allocations shared on January 16, 2025 for the local governments were however paid to the state governments, making the financial autonomy which the Supreme Court ruled an illusion.
To contravene the Supreme Court order, that is where the Attorney General, who is the Chief Law Officer, should come. If you feel that the judgment of the Supreme Court is ambiguous, is not approach the Supreme Court for clarification. The law is straightforward. You have no right whatsoever to direct how local government funds should be shared or used. Local government chairman is there with his councillors. State governor is there with the State House of Assembly to administer the money meant for the state. This one, okay, if you are now saying, would the National Assembly and the President control the money coming for your state? It doesn't work like that. So that is just it. If you feel that the local government chairman and the councillors are misusing the fund, you approach EFCC, you approach ICPC, you approach the police. They are not under immunity. They should be investigated. Where they feel that there is a corruption, they looted the money, they should be made to face the wrath of the law.
The state government seems to have acted within their legal rights as prescribed by the Constitution. Section 162, subsection 5 of the Constitution prescribes that the amount standing to the credit of the local government councils in the federation account shall be allocated to the states for the benefit of the local government councils. A direct payment to the account of the local government as declared by the Supreme Court would have contradicted this provision of the Constitution. Section 162, subsection 6 of the Constitution creates more challenge in the ruling of the Supreme Court. It provides that each state shall maintain a special account to be called State Joint Local Government Account, into which shall be paid all allocations to the local government councils of the states from the federation account or from the government of the states. When some state governors visited President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on January 1, 2025, the president said that he had no intention to take away state control of the local government away from the governors.
You have the control of your local governments. Do what you expected of grassroots effectiveness and restoration of their hope. It's in your hand. There was some gossip that maybe we had a disagreement or quarrel and everything when it was local government's autonomy. No. Just drive the development down there to the local government authorities. Nobody wants to take the control away from you.
No, I'm not taking anything away from you. You should take away something from them, please, for God's sake. The president should take something away from them and damn the consequences. And the fact of the matter is that if the president is bold enough, and then come out very strongly to fight on the side of the people, what he doesn't know is that, believe you me, the people may revolt against the other people, the governors. More so, like I said, this is a situation where you have the judiciary on your side, you have the National Assembly on your side. So what again are you looking for? You installed the principal officers of the National Assembly. You appointed the Chief Justice of the Federation. You appointed the INEC mind, everything. So what you have the police. Why are you afraid of these local champions?
That thing is a political statement. Whatever the president said cannot set aside the Supreme Court judgment.
In effect, politically and constitutionally, the state government still have a firm control of local government in the country, unless the National Assembly takes steps to amend the constitution. The financial autonomy expected from the June 11, 2024 judgment declared by the Supreme Court will remain an issue that rakes up political dust in Nigeria. In Abuja, Nasiru Usman for Signature TV.
Well, Honorable Kala, we followed that report by our correspondent. You were praising the president for taking a bold step which would set the local governments free and make them deliver on the mandate given to them by the Constitution. But the president said to the governors, I'm not taking away your control of your local governments from you. You must drive development to the grassroots. Is there a contradiction there?
There is clearly no contradiction.
Go ahead.
The point is that nobody is taking local government from anybody. We're talking about a tier of government. Mr. President is very free to relate directly with the local government. Governors are free to relate with the local government. The point we're talking about is that let funds accruing to 774 local government from federation account hits their account. Whatever the governor wants to do with the chairman, it doesn't matter as far as we're concerned. But let this funding get to them. As far as I am concerned, the federal government is undermining the judgment of the Supreme Court. The same federal, because there are three very critical orders that were made by their lordships. One, to the effect that an order restraining the defendants, that is 36 state governors, by themselves, their previous agents, officials, or however called, from further collecting, receiving, spending, or tampering with local government funds from federation account for the benefit of local government councils. Number two, that an order that the federation or federal government of Nigeria, through its relevant officials, forthwith commence the direct payment to each local government council of the amount standing to the credit of each of them in the federation account. The last order, they saw tomorrow, these people, their lordships saw tomorrow. They said an order of immediate compliance by the states through their elected or appointed officials and public officers with the terms of this judgment and orders made in this suit and successive compliance by successive state officials and public officers. This judgment is clear that from June 11, by July, the next FAC, these monies should hit the accounts of local government. But we keep hearing that there is an implementation committee, that there is one committee as SGF office, meeting with governors, local government officials. I do not understand. Is the judgment of the Supreme Court subjected to some form of negotiation? Do you need to negotiate the judgment of no less a court than Supreme Court? Absolutely an aberration. Absolutely undermining the laws of our land. Look, the judgment of the Supreme Court has already invalidated the state provision of the state joint account I'm not a lawyer, but my simple understanding of that judgment, state joint account is no longer alive. So why should, since June 11, federal government, who is the custodian of these monies, keep allocating monies standing in the credit of 774 local government to state joint accounts? It means that there is no good faith in what the federal government has done, and this is where my own sense of worry and concern is. And that is why I said I am not satisfied at all. I have been on this advocacy since I was local government chairman, and since I left office, consistently I've been there. And I'm still there up to this moment as I speak with you. Not because I have intention to go back to my local government and recontest for chairman, but I know the importance of getting the local government effective. And how do you get them effective? Is the fact that allow funding to get to them. And let me tell you another very shocking thing that is going on in the states. Most of these states you see, they do what is called Central Revenue Collection Law. State Joint Revenue Collection Law. So they have taken over the revenues of local government. You are aware, Chapter 4 clearly stipulates areas of taxes collectible
by the local government.
Most of these states, including my state, Nasarawa, has what is called state
Central
Revenue Law, made by the State Assembly. That law is in complete variance
with the
provision of the Constitution, which is the grand norm. And the Constitution is clear. Any offshoot of law that is made contrary to the provision of the Constitution, to that effect, is null and void. But because the state governors have immunity, they continue to perpetuate this illegality in daylight, direct upfront to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Nobody has said anything. And I am more worried that the media have not taken it up with these governors. And the media will continue to come every day to talk about direct funding to local government. How can we sit here today after 7 months that the federal government, who went to court and got judgment, this same federal government is in custody of this money, have not been able to pay this money to 774? And you want Nigerians to be happy with this government? We are not happy. As a former local government chairman, I have my colleagues who are in the office languishing, and they have funds to reach out to them. The man here, our guest, barrister, said that he saw that his local government chairman has improved in carrying out activity. It is true. It is fear of unknown. So the governors have improved the amount they release to them, because they know that the EFCC from June 11 will follow from June 11 and hold them to account when they leave office. So most of them are releasing the money. Not all, but they release significant amount of it to the local government. But they go back to tell them what to do. Today, they went into the Constitution, dig the Constitution, and say that the state is supposed to have a state economic council. Just like you have NEC, National Economic Council, where governors are members. There is this provision in the state from time immemorial. Because there is joint account, it's marriable. They left it there. It's hidden. They never exploited it. Now, because Supreme Court said let this money go directly to them. Now, they came up with state economic team and say that once you receive your direct funding, pay XYZ percentage of that money into this economic fund, where universal project or uniform project will be carried out in all the local government in the state by the state economic team, which is chaired by the state government. Look, we cannot continue to deceive ourselves. That's the truth. Mr. President, who we have saluted, celebrated for this rare courage that he has displayed by going to Supreme Court, is dashing the hope of Nigerians. I cannot imagine that the Tinubu we know, who has strong political will, you know how he fought for the salvation of local government in his state when he was governor with former President Obasanjo. And for 1 full year, allocations were denied to local governments in Lagos State. The same president is at the saddle, who has taken steps to say, look, I am now here. I am the father of salvation for local government. I want to now do it myself. He's failing already. So if CBN, I cannot verify that report, that CBN is requesting for audited
2 years audited account.
2 years audited account. I don't know, but I do not think that it's a matter that should call for any debate. If they have requested for it, local government will provide it. They have it. They can provide it within 24 hours. Okay? But the question we should ask ourselves, CBN cannot ask local government to provide that until the Federal Ministry of Finance send a memo to CBN to the effect that open accounts for 774 local government for them to receive their direct payment.
That was
from the records I have.
Yes.
That communication has never taken place yet. So that's why I'm surprised that the CBN is saying this. That's if it's verified. And again, what you ask yourself, Lateef Fagbemi SAN, who is at the saddle of this, is quiet, hasn't said anything. You hear state governments coming up with laws in the state to say that, like Anambra, the man put all the local government chairmen behind him, took 1 hour on a live telecast to say, no, we are together with the chairman. They don't have problem. We will manage their funds. So once they get their money within 2 days, they will forward it to an account that will be managed by the state. And the local government were behind clapping. That's because the man who you think was an international scholar found himself into politics. He is now playing it more than the full-time politician.
Is that politics?
He is not bringing any difference at all. We expected that election in Anambra, local government election, we will see different parties winning, because he is not running a state where his ABGA won all the seats in assembly or national assembly or others. Are you telling me that a House of Reps member will not deliver his local government? It's not true. So we expected that we see, but it's the same voyage of declaring his party people as chairmen and councillors. And that is why these people want to take hold of the local government, and then you ask yourself, are they accounted for their own portion of allocation?
I'm coming back to
state.
Honorable Akala, I'm coming back to you. You know, he's a barrister. Yes. He has raised something critical, and that is, this judgment was delivered on the 11th of June 2024. And from what is read out, the Supreme Court said forthwith. The Supreme Court. Forth, you're a lawyer. You know the import of the Supreme Court saying forthwith. But in the military parlance, with immediate effects. 7 months along the line, the CBN is now saying, bring audited account before accounts can be opened for you to now receive the monies. Who is going to be held liable for this long disobedience to the Supreme Court position?
The actions of the Central Bank of Nigeria so far is contemptuous.
Hold your breath. Hear what he said. That before the central bank can open that account, there ought to be a communication from the Ministry of Finance requesting the central bank to open accounts into which local government allocations cannot be paid directly. The central bank cannot initiate opening the account unless it has a request. And therefore, if the central bank is just saying it now, I'm just supposing that is most likely when they received such communication. And therefore, these 7 months of disobedience to the Supreme Court judgment and order, who is going to carry the can?
Every organs of government is expected to obey the judgment of the Supreme Court, but because that is the highest court of the land. In fact, the law, what we see in law books, in textbooks, in the statutes, are not law. The real law is what the judges say is the law. You understand? So if the Supreme Court said from June 2024, that judgment is static. All the money they are spending now without transferring it, they will still get to that place. They will still obey the court.
Yes. It's not just that they will. If not, they can decide to pay it in 2027.
Yes.
The Supreme Court has said forthwith.
Yes.
And somebody, some agency, some office is refusing to do just what the Supreme Court said.
Yes.
Two things. Who will carry the can, I asked.
Yes.
Second, what is the consequence of this kind of impunity?
It is the duty of the Attorney General of the Federation to see that the judgment of the court is obeyed. That is the chief law officer. No man, no woman, no ministry is above his powers. The laxity, I think, should be tabled on his table because he has a way to bring this to bear. If the Attorney General speak to the governor of Central Bank that he wants that account to be open today, it will be done. Because the next step would be to take action against him. So from what I am hearing now, it appears that there is a connivance between the Attorney General of the Federations and other parties to disobey the court order. And if that is the truth of the matter, it is unfortunate. Because there's nothing we can do, there's nothing the court can do if the judgment of the court is disobeyed.
No. I understand. I'm not a lawyer.
Yes.
That the judgment of the court,
yes,
which is enforceable,
yes,
it is the responsibility of the police to enforce it.
Good.
In the circumstance we are now, what should the police be doing? Are the police not apprised of the judgment of the Supreme Court? And is police not apprised of the impunity being displayed to undermine not just local government administration, but undermining the authority of our Supreme Court?
Before the police will come in, the Attorney General or whoever is affected will go to the Supreme Court and say, this judgment has not been complied with. Please authorize the police to arrest so person to comply with the law. That is the police cannot just jump in.
So we are waiting for the Attorney General.
Yes, the Attorney General is the board is on. He's the man responsible. He's number one law officer. Anything he says, that's what the court judge will do. If the Attorney General say, please, I need policemen to go to this man and make him to obey the law, they will do it. They will do this. What is happening now is like if they are probating and reprobating, that is blowing hot and cool. If you are blowing hot, blow hot. If you are blowing cool, blow cool. If this government is interested in reform, it shouldn't take this long for the money to hit the local government's account. I thought initially that the money is there. That is the presumption I had, because there was those people, they were the one that went to court, and that was the challenge. If I was the one that went to court, they would have said, oh, the government will come and obey this and that. But if the government itself, there should be no need, there should be no explanation for the delay. And if there's any delay, the buck is on the Attorney General's table and the President. Because the President can say what is happening, the Attorney General will say, okay, this is what, please take actions. If the Attorney General takes actions, then that will be done. So if Attorney General is not taking action, it means that is what the President wants it to happen.
That is what the President
wants it to happen.
Now, Honorable Akan, we watched the President here.
Yes.
Almost speaking contrary to the provisions to the order of the Supreme Court. Because he said, I'm not taking your local governments away from you. You are still in charge. You are still in control. The state governments have been in control. That control has been a euphemism for corruption. That control was what the Supreme Court attempted to take away from the governments, the state governments, and hand it to who ought to exercise it, the local governments. My producer says I have only 3 minutes. Was the President talking politics? Are you still hopeful that something will happen?
Well, he was only being political with the governors. That was just a political comment. And for me, it does not has anything to do with the major issue on ground. The president cannot stop governors from interfacing with
the local government
chairman. In any case, they are closer, so they should be seen to work together. That's why I always hold the opinion that this judgment has nothing to do with usurping the power of any tier of government. Okay, so it's rather a situation that will strengthen the local government for more collaboration. Okay,
and better governance.
For the interests of the citizens of Nigeria. So I want to be positive. I don't want to give up. I want to still hold the president by his word. Before this judgment, if you Google the YouTube, you will see the president's position about local government. I want to believe his position has not changed. But Mr. President must rise to the occasion. It is not looking good. Nigerians are not happy with this development, and some of us who had the privilege to be at the local government knows that the solution to our challenges lie in the local government.
Our development challenges.
Our developmental challenges lie in the local. If you want to fight insecurity, empower the local government. It is the local government who is in charge of communities. Every crime is committed in a community. And that's why I hold the opinion the solution to our policing challenges is community policing. Not even the state police that some people are talking about. If you want to do proper policing, it's community policing. And that will be driven by local administrators. So everywhere around the world, local administrators are saddled with the responsibility of maintaining peace. So if you want to be proactive, it is the local government chairman who can maintain a register in communities to watch who comes into the community and goes out of the community. He has the capacity to empower young persons in every community to take that responsibility in collaboration with the traditional institutions in those communities. So we must tell ourselves the truth. We must not play politics in everything. The governors must answer up at this point. I encourage the governors in the interest of this nation to give up. Let them give up. And the local government is not taking responsibility of usurping the powers of the state. Just like the state who have maintained autonomy, the president does not decide what they do. The president does not usurp their power. So I do not want them to continue to maintain that posture of making Nigerians feel that they do not want local government
to function. Thank you very much. Don't throw up your hands. That's what he's saying. You can collaborate, but don't take control. After all, the states are collaborating with the federal government without federal government dictating for them what they ought to do. The Constitution has provided for 3 tiers of government: federal, state, and local. Why should, in any circumstance, any one tier be made not to function properly? In the past 1 hour, in fact, almost more than that, I've been conversing with 2 gentlemen who know the issues in this matter. On my left, as I did say from the beginning, is Barrister Celsus Upong. Barrister, a lawyer. Upong, thank you very much for coming to the program.
I'm grateful.
And Honorable Samuel Akala, who is honestly educated us from point of experience, and who is, no matter what is, he's still optimistic. Honorable Akala, thank you for coming to the program.
Always my pleasure. Great. Thank you.
My name is Mwabos Njoka. I want to thank you for joining us from Abuja studio. We'll meet you again on Monday. Have a great weekend and good morning.